Hey, hello, and welcome to Consciously Awesome Live. I am your host, Sheila Applegate, and we are here to celebrate your brilliance and help you bring it into your everyday life. Today is a really amazing day because we have a wonderful guest that I'm very excited about. But I also want to tell you I had a great morning. I started my day with Betsy DeCope. Oh, shit. DePico. Sorry. I started my day with Betsy DePico in Move Your Soul, and it was amazing. So before we move any further, I just wanted to tell you guys how my morning started, and you can see that on Wednesday mornings if you would like to explore that. So back to today. The guest today, as you know, I have been bringing in people who inspire me to live a more conscious life. And a couple years ago, I watched a Netflix show, Sense8, and that is produced by the Wachowskis, who are the ones who did the Matrix. And it was such a great show, and it reflected all of the things that I have been teaching and hoping the world would wake up to over the last 20 years. And I was so inspired because one of my main goals, I guess, in life has been to really normalize what our society typically calls unusual, right? The paranormal, but to bring that energy of the divine and our connection to the divine and to each other and oneness into everyday practical life. So when I watched Sense8, I was like creatively so excited because here was this fun show that what people were watching all around the world in the mainstream, viewing on Netflix. And it held a framework, a backdrop for everything I had been teaching. So I thought, I want to do a podcast. Can I even do a podcast on a show? But yeah, okay, I'm going to do a podcast. I want to do a podcast on this show. Now, the crazy part is it had been canceled by the time that I decided I wanted to do the show. So it really made no sense, but I couldn't get my mind off of it. And I kind of, for those sensates out there, hello, you know that I kind of strong-armed Zac, my partner, to do the show with me. And we spent 2 years going through every episode of Sense8 and taking the episode and connecting it to the messages of living in higher consciousness or consciously awesome life. And in this journey, we not only got to meet tons of fans around the world, we walked into this portal of people who had already connected and become friends from all different countries in the world, all based on Sense8 and the impact it had had on their lives. And then we got to meet Martin, who's doing a documentary about it. And from there, we moved on to meet many of the actors and become dear friends with several of them. And today, we have one of my dear friends here with us. And we'll play a clip, and then I will introduce her to you.
You could be dead within 6 months.
Jesus Christ, Mom.
You understand now, Michael. You're going to need us. You're going to need your family.
Don't touch me. You're not my family.
We should go.
This is for your own good, Michael.
Don't call me that.
You're my child.
Go.
I love you.
Just go.
Michael.
Janet?
I don't want to make a scene here.
Why not?
I have some great ideas. I know Tegan asked you to speak, but if you have any compassion for your sister or this family, I really think it would be best for everyone if you had one of your mysterious headaches and left early. Just consider it, please.
Michael is a disaster. He ruins everything.
Janet, calm down.
There are police officers swarming my daughter's wedding as if I have not endured enough humiliation because of...
Mom.
Go ahead, take his side. even when he destroys your wedding.
You could be dead within 6 months.
Jesus Christ, Mom.
You understand now, Michael. You're going to need us. You're going to need your family.
Don't touch me. You're not my family.
We should go.
This is for your own good, Michael.
Don't call me that.
You're my child.
Go.
I love you.
Just go.
Michael,
Janet,
I don't want to make a scene here.
why not?
I have some great ideas. I know Tegan asked you to speak, but if you have any compassion for your sister or this family, I really think it would be best for everyone if you had one of your mysterious headaches and left early. Just consider it, please.
Michael is a disaster. He ruins everything.
Janet, calm down.
There are police officers swarming my daughter's wedding as if I have not endured enough humiliation because of...
Mom.
Go ahead, take his side, even when he destroys your wedding.
Try one. You'll never be the same again. And we'll dance among the chandeliers.
Nomi! Nomi! I don't know what I was thinking. Nomi. It's a beautiful name. Lawrence, why didn't we come to Paris until now?
Wow, intense, right? What a scene. So, as you listen to that, if you're a sensate, you know that that is Nomi's mom in the series, and she is sometimes known as the bad mom compared to the other mom in the series. But Sandra Fish, who played Nomi's mom in Sense8, is also a very talented actor who has been acting for over 40 years in film, TV, theaters, and living rooms. One of her favorite roles was as Samaki, that's fish in Swahili, whose character was the first and only mzungo, white person, on a Swahili soap opera, which aired all over East Africa. How fun is that? She's also a writer with credits in New York Times Magazine, as well as screenwriting project with William Hurt. Sandra wrote and frequently performs a 90-minute piece about holding her best friend's hand as she took her last breath. End of Life is a daily favorite musing of Sandra's. She is the co-chair of San Francisco End of Life Network and is co-founder of Humane Prison Hospice Project. Sandra has gone into San Quentin prison pre-COVID on and off for years, assisting and training the prisoners in end-of-life care. And currently, Sandra is living in her dream home, which is a very tiny cabin with an outdoor toilet and shower and the luxury of redwood trees just 20 yards away, where she meditates daily for 30 minutes at sunrise and 30 minutes at sunset. So it is my deep pleasure to welcome Sandra Fish. Hi, Sandra.
Hey, you. Thank you for that. Boy, that was pretty awesome. Good to
Well,
be
it is
here.
wonderful to have you here. Oh my goodness. So, you know what? It's about 1 year ago today, we were supposed to be together in San Francisco, and COVID shut us down. And so it's great to
Exactly.
actually see you here today.
Yeah. You were coming for a reading of my Elizabeth piece, too.
I know, that's what I was
You're
thinking.
reading that down
Yes.
in Locke. With the good mom was
With-
going to be there, too.
Right, Maximilian was going to be there in
So,
a really cool town in Locke,
yeah,
right?
very cool.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet, but we will do that.
We
That will
will. We're all vaccinated in a few weeks.
That's
so.
right. I have one more to go.
Right. A few more weeks and we'll all five of us, and who knows, maybe all of Locke, because it's a very tiny town.
Yes, exactly.
So, Sandra, how was your morning in the redwood trees?
My morning was really good. I love the morning, and I get up at 5 generally, and I didn't go in. I haven't been going into the trees in the mornings because it's freaking freezing here. And I used to like make a warm a heater thing, a heating pad, and sit on it. There's like I've made a rule: if it's under 40 degrees, I'm not going out.
There you go.
So I sit by the window and look at the trees out there and meditate with them. So that was lovely. It always is. It always is. I've been sitting with trees. I've been meditating for 40 years, over 40 years, but I've been meditating with the trees for 2 years. I started in December 2018, redwood trees where I used to live, and then here. So, and there's another tree near the cabin other cabin where I live that we showed you, Steep Ravine Cabin by the sea.
Well, you know what? You didn't have much indoor plumbing at your last place. Well, you at least had a tub outside, a beautiful tub outside.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, my last place. Yes, that's right. I had a bathtub outside, and the toilet was in the kitchen. I have very odd places. I have priorities, and not having a lot of money, but my priorities are pretty firm. I need beauty, privacy, and quiet.
And nature, I would say.
Yeah, and that's nature. The beauty.
Redwood trees, right?
The nature, the trees are key. So, and it has to be basically free. I mean, it has to be really, I mean, this was a godsend, this place. So, yeah. And the cabin by the sea, I worked for the state park. So I bartered it and cleaned the cabin.
Right. I was at that one too.
No electricity. Yeah. And I was in that cabin when I did an audition interview with the main casting director for Sense8. I was living in that cabin, and Carmen Cuba, who did the casting, and Lana and Lily insisted on meeting the cast before they did the final casting, because they wanted to make sure they would be able to work with them as human beings, and that they were on board with all this. And since I was such the bitch in the audition, they wanted to make sure I wasn't that person. That's what the casting director said. They want to make sure you're not really Janet. I'm an actor.
You're not Janet. You're alter ego.
Anyway, that was a fun. Oh, it was crazy. I mean, I had to buy a new laptop to make that happen. That interview in that cabin. So. Yeah, I love my mornings. I did my boho beautiful, did some yoga, did my journaling. I do journaling every morning. Have my espresso, have that every morning.
Your coffee, right?
Yep.
Shout out to the people that are talking about, I saw people talking about you and coffee yesterday on
yes.
media.
I will not give up my espresso, and I will not. And I did once for 4 months due to a homeopathic remedy decades ago, and no good. It didn't do any good. I have a tremor in my hands from my family, and my hands didn't even stop shaking. I was like, no,
wow.
Go back. Now I'm only allowed to have one a day, morning espresso, but I live for that. I think about it.
Well, you know what? Coffee can get you out of bed in the morning, right?
That's right. I got the espresso pot on my hot plate, ready to go.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was
So I wore my Live Sense8 shirt for you in honor of you today.
I love that. And I agree with you. The Sense8, and I want to say this to the Sense8 fans. They're the sweetest, most real people. They care. I mean, I could weep almost. It truly is about the connection. That we really are connected, and I believe that completely. And also, I want to read a quote. I did think of this because I saw something on your site that was about becoming yourself, and I think part of Sense8 is addresses that is be you, and my whole life has been that. It's like, please just be yourself. You be you, I'll be me. We'll see if, please be true to yourself. Please find out who that is. And I was teaching actually in Rikers prison back in 2000. And there was a group of guys in there, and they were graduating from I forget what the class was. Well, anyway, I taught employment, so when they got out, they would know how to do it. But there was a quote, and I think this is from Nicholas Rourke, but I'm not sure. But it says, when you die and go to heaven, our maker is not going to ask, why didn't you discover the cure for such and such? Why didn't you become the Messiah? The only question we will be asked in that precious moment will be, why didn't you become you?
Wow, that is beautiful. I love that. Yeah.
I so love people. And I, in fact, was having a conversation. Look, I'm weeping. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and I had one with my sister about this. And she said something really good to me that I needed to hear. But I love myself. And I get really sad when I hear people say they don't love themselves. And I had a friend who said that she was in this group counseling. She goes, not one person in the circle could say they love themselves. And and especially when I love the person who's saying that, I'm like,
right.
How can you not love yourself? I love you. And then my sister, we were having this conversation like just a few days ago, and she goes, you're really lucky. She goes, that's a gift. She said, most people struggle with that and aren't feeling that. And I thought, whew, so I just ask everyone, love yourself. Find ways to love yourself. I mean, forgive me. It's not like I don't get annoyed at myself, angry at myself, disgusted with myself. But then I fall in love with myself all over again.
And you can love yourself and not like yourself all the time, right? Because I've done that. I've even said, I can picture myself saying to Zac, I don't know if I like myself today.
Oh, when I dealt with my shit, when I was dealing, when you deal with your stuff, I'm like, ugh.
Right? But that knowing,
and then you work through it.
Yeah, I think it's really important that you brought this up as you were talking about all the amazing connections of people, because Sense8 really, I have not seen a show like this. And in fact, I think it is the first show that really turned to social media and came together in order to get a finale after Netflix had cut it abruptly. And so that's a really wonderful thing. But to me, it's a show that I was blown away when I got on social media to promote this podcast I was going to do. And I went into this world of people together supporting each other, and still to now, deep friendships coming from it. But I think it ties into what you're saying, because I do think that one of the things that stops people from loving themselves or feeling like they don't love themselves is trying to fit into a world that doesn't make sense to them. And so maybe the judgment is, I'm trying to disconnect from source so I can fit into this world, but I don't like the world and I don't like myself here. And even if we're not processing that, that can sometimes turn into that lack of self-love, I think. And then Sense8 comes and normalizes everybody. Like, yeah, we're here. You're real,
The world is nuts. I mean, I really experiment with my life. That is my thing. I live my questions. I experiment. I just go and do it. And when people question me sometimes, like, aren't you scared, or what are you doing? Or I say, if everyone were happy and the world were running in this lovely, lovely way, I would do what they're doing. But I look at it and go, this is so crazy. I'm gonna create my own culture. I'm going to live I'm going to try something different, in other words, and not go that route. And I'm very optimistic, and I do see the world becoming more aware,
Right.
and acknowledging that we're all different and we're all the same. That's really what I see. It's like I'm more into the unity, and I'm always, I find our similarities amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Diversity, yes, there's diversity, but our humanness is extraordinary. The way we're connected and the same, and it's, yeah, it's a wacky world for sure. So yeah, so if someone, and if you're raised in a family maybe that conforms, you know, and your gut is going, I mean, how many of my friends go, I felt I was born into the wrong family, you know, I felt like, why am I here? Who are these people? And if your gut is saying, I'm not tracking with this, then you probably do turn it on yourself, like something's wrong with me because
Right.
I don't feel comfortable in this. And
Right, and that can happen in early childhood. So by the time you're an
yes,
adult, you don't remember why you don't feel that love.
yes, and then you
Right.
don't, and then by the time you're following this crazy social pressure or whatever, you're not happy. I want to be happy and free. I went to an insane shrink once. She was a psychic, and she had brain damage, and why I listened to her ever. But one of the things I said to her, I go, you know, I was kind of happier before. And she goes, happy? Oh, you want to be happy? I was like,
Yes.
and I do. I want to be happy and free. Now that is complicated, or you have to figure out what makes you happy. For instance, the prison work I do was something that came from a play I did over 30 years ago about getting out of prison. It was called Getting Out. And we did amazing research, and we went to women's prisons, and my eyes just opened up and just never shut. I thought, what have we created here? And organically over the years, I was drawn in, just out, you know, serendipitous, into prisons and end of life. And it's something that I'm not happy unless I'm moving that forward. So it, you know, part of these things are, I want to say selfish, but it's about being happy. It's like happiness comes from listening to whatever's drawing us and then doing it, no matter how crazy people say you are. I mean, I banged my head against the wall since 2007 until finally in 2012 the right people started coming. But I wasn't going to stop, you know. People would always ask me, are you still trying to do that? And now it's grown into a vibrant, expanding, amazing people involved, and it's we're getting there. So
I think that's awesome.
yourself.
I think it's awesome. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said listen to yourself, love yourself, acknowledge yourself.
Yeah, and what you're passionate about, because someone else might be like, oh, that sounds really depressing, I don't want to do that, you know, but then they're meant to do something else.
Do whatever. I don't even care if it's stare into space, if that's, you know. Honestly, this idea of because I've known people who do good work, but they're doing more harm sometimes. You know, it's coming from, their intention is so motivated from a strange, unhealthy place. I would rather see someone do something else, but if their intention is pure and motivated from connecting with themselves, or, you know, I'm on board. But yeah, no, we all have a different thing, and that's a beauty. Otherwise, we can't make the world go round.
This is, you know, bringing us to the topic of what our title of the show is today, and that's Live Love First, is what, right? Always putting love first. And I want to get into that, but I want to say, and maybe I shouldn't even bother because I don't remember the quote, but yesterday I saw a quote, a Sensei quote, and it was about prisons. I should have remembered it, knowing that you were coming on, but it was a quote from the woman that was in prison with son, and it was something about sometimes you have to go to prison to find nice people. I mean, that's a summary of it, but it was something like that, you know. And it's a really cool quote, because sometimes that's exactly what's happening, you know.
Because when we go in and we work with a group of the one group we work with is a group of prisoners that have formed this group called Brothers Keepers, and they're trained in crises counseling, and they've gone through some programs. And these are people who have been through hell and back. 90% of them had early childhoods that were horrible. Almost all of them have had to deal with our, racist culture, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they got into prison as young people. And so they have dealt with their stuff, and they are willing to face it, and they are real, and they care, and there's no bullshit, and they care. And so when we bring people in from the outside to speak with them, we brought, you should look his TED Talk up. He's on our board too, BJ Miller, amazing end-of-life doctor, amazing. And he's been in twice to talk to them about end-of-life issues and things. And they all just, because he's very real and very in his body, which is kind of half a body. He was in an accident, so he has no legs from the knees down, and he's missing an arm, and he's like devastatingly handsome and just real. And when he walked out of there, he was like, I just want to go back in. Almost, well, I can say everyone we have ever brought in has gone, I want to go back in. Because to sit in a group where everyone is being real and cares is pretty extraordinary. And to be through what they've been through, which of course, most of my closest friends are people who have been through shit and got through it. They're not wallowing in it. They're not living that horrible whatever. They've gone through it and faced it. And they're my favorite people. They're the most fun. And everyone goes through shit. Let's face it.
Right, because life can be
hard.
Shit, right?
Being human is hard. It's hard.
But it's also beautiful.
But it's so fantastic and precious and exciting. And I just, I feel like I wrote a piece once when I was doing volunteer work in hospice, and I came home thinking, there are a zillion dead people. There are so many dead people. There are so many dead people. But the people that are alive are so few of us. We are the precious few right now who are actually living. And that I pay attention to, even though I'm so drawn to end of life. And of course, the preciousness of those moments, that's why I'm into the hospice and prison, is because I feel those last moments and at our death is the most profound moment, and that it's very, very important, and that we carry that moment. So, and of course I'm thinking of you and your mom. I'm sorry to bring that up, but I've thought about her this morning too, and thought, it's your mom, and it's big. It's always big. It's huge, but your mom is even bigger. It's very precious. So I'm like, who can be bored? There's so much to engage with, but you have
I think the boredom comes from when we try to fit into the suppressed world, or you said the dead people, like the zombie energy, right? Instead of feeling like we can go out of the box and live differently, which you've been brilliant at doing,
Well, I don't know about brilliant, but I'm doing it. I think it does.
You made it to this age, 45, and you're still doing it. So
45, I'm 65. Yeah,
I know. But you look 45. You look 45.
I feel 25. It's very scary. I feel 14. But Yeah, and when I said dead people, I meant the actual dead people.
Well,
I
those
understand
too.
the zombie.
I saw them, but I also saw the ones that are walking around.
That's right. And the wisest counselor and teacher, he's dead now, Father Tolliver. He was an ex-Episcopalian priest, and I counseled with him. And he got removed from his church because he used to preach about reincarnation. And he had built the largest Episcopalian church in the nation. And they said, you know what, you need to go. You can't talk about reincarnation. But one of the things he said was, people are walking around dead. People are walking around dead. And he said that most people were depressed and that this trying to nurture people out of that. And because we need everyone.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was laughing as you said that because I sometimes joke that most of my friends are dead, and I have lost a lot of people, but I mean because I hang out with the actual dead people.
That's right.
And sometimes they're more fun. Well, a lot of times they're more fun than some people.
You have no barriers.
Right. So let's hear some ways, when you think of living love first, some of the choices that you've made in life. Because, we're talking about this sort of generally everybody should live like us, take that risk.
Well, I always say
it's not always easy to do.
You should live like me. You find your way to be happy. But yeah, I think a big piece of it is to not, and this is something Father Dolliver also said to me, and I took it to heart. Never make a decision out of fear.
Yeah.
Just never do that. If you're finding yourself making a decision out of fear, don't make a decision out of money. I have a whole thing about money and people's relationship with money. And I want to write a children's book called Don't Store Your Money. Spend your money. But I think the fearlessness, the fear-driven choices is key to free yourself. There's nothing to be afraid of unless a train is running at you or a truck is about to hit you. I mean, living in California and the fires and all this, I'm like, all right, when it's at my door, I'm going to freak out and run, because I was living somewhere where they were training us on the property to put out the fire. I said, I'm not going to. I'm not doing that. The fire comes, I'm gone, But in the meantime, I'm not living in fear, like, oh, the fire's coming in 3 months or I've really experimented. I think having time to yourself and quiet is important. It's such a noisy world. The trees have even told me to get off social media. They said light touch it. It was like a year ago. Light touch that stuff, and we get if the more you can be real, the more you can. Oh, look, there's 2 deer staring at me in the grass. Hi. That is so sweet. And being in touch with nature, of course, if you can, being quiet in your head. I mean, that's my constant practice. And I heard it from the trees one day was you need your body, you need to purify your thought, which isn't about thinking good thoughts. It's about being present. And I think that's key in all of this is just be present. Just be present. It's not as easy as that sounds. It's easy here for you because I'm engaging. But when I'm going about my day, washing dishes, whatever, in the mind, I'm working on, to be present. Unless I'm at my laptop writing something, then I'm engaged there. But don't think about yesterday's conversation or, oh, I'm figuring something out. No, you're not. Let it go. Oh, this is my favorite quote. Okay. I went to a talk by Jack Cornfield, and he was talking about when he was young and becoming a Buddhist. And I think he was in Thailand, and he was with these Zen monks, and he was worrying about this and worrying about that. And the older Zen monk just looked at him and said, "Don't worry, soon dead." And that is my motto. If I start to worry about, anything, it's like, look, you're going to die. Why are you worrying about that? Enjoy this moment. And yes, there's grief, and there can be joy in grief. Right. And we need to honor our grief. And I have the bad temper. I have a bad temper, and I feel like I'm getting better. And it's not usually directed, like, people don't ever see it unless I'm in an office working and someone disrespects me. They've seen it and they're always like, I thought she was sweet.
They don't know you as Janet.
Yeah, boom. So don't, but when I'm by myself, I can get really, really physical. My body, it's in my body. It's this anger, and I have to get it out. A friend said, I go, gosh, you just don't even know. I spit when I'm mad. I did it when I was a year old. I scared my mother. I would and spit. She's like, yeah, but I just, and I was telling a friend, I'm working on this. I'm really, I don't want to have this like fiery outburst. And she's like, I don't know if that's ever going to go away. I think you need
passion.
Yeah,
that is passion.
Body. And I do. Most people don't see it. Most people don't. I don't show it to them. It's usually when I'm by myself. But man, so I don't know where that came from, but
I think it's great. I think, yeah, living life passionately in all the emotions is so essential. So we're going to take a quick break, and then let's dive deeper into a couple things you said I want to talk about more, and that's continuing a little bit with all the emotions, but the joy and grief and some of the work you've done and your play. I think we should talk a little bit about your play.
Well, I have to read that poem.
Yeah, so we'll be right back and we'll keep talking.
Thank you.
Solivity Magazine and Beyond Words Publishing is pleased to announce its latest charitable partner, the National Museum of African American History and Culture. We ask you to join us in supporting this national treasure of memories and truth to stay alive for generations to come.
Creating this museum gives us a chance to make manifest the dreams of many generations. We call the lost dream back.
This is a milestone moment not only for the Smithsonian, but for the United States.
The goal of the museum is to make America better, provide opportunities for us to be made better by the past, and for us to move towards a future where race will always matter. They will find that those ideals are only met through sacrifice and struggle, and a belief in a better day.
This place is more than a building. It is a dream come true.
History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived.
And by knowing this other story, we better understand ourselves and each other. I, too, am American.
We ask you to join us in supporting this national treasure of memories and truth to stay alive for generations to come.
Welcome back. I am here talking with Sandra Fish, and we're having a very passionate discussion about living life love first. And, I think we're talking about love in every moment, love over fear. And I like what you said, Sandra, when you talked about not choosing fear unless it's an actual, there's physical fear that we're supposed to experience of our instinct, but we live in fight or flight often, and it's all illusional fears at this point, right? But our bodies still respond as if we're experiencing the fight or flight. And it's learning to shift that, right? And to recognize when you're really in physical fear and when you're going down a little ride there. And then, I love that you went from that and you were starting to talk about your passion, your anger, and that's part of living life with love, don't you think? That is love,
it's allowing myself, I think, loving myself in a way to allow myself that. I mean, we all need to grow and change and grow, and that's something I look at. But yeah, I mean, because generally my reaction afterwards is I laugh.
Right.
I laugh at myself. I'm like, oh my God. Spitting on the windshield of my car, so angry at the Social Security office.
Oh, I got angry at them once. And you know what? And then I got off and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I thought, I can do this differently because I didn't get my answer. I was trying to help my parents out a couple of years ago. And then I tried again, and I'm like, Sheila, be your other, like, align. And I came back and it was so smooth and everybody was nice. That's a really good way to find out how life is different when you
oh my God. And I remember I threw a fit once in a because it's the bureaucracy that makes us crazy.
Right. It's the,
and I threw a fit in like a AAA thing, and I was at my wit's end, and I stomped out of there going, I will never be back here again. And I was afterwards, I was like, oh my God. So I bought a chocolate bar and took it in the next day and said, I am so sorry, and they're like, okay, but they're probably used to it. But honestly, yeah, but I prefer feeling things. I guess that's maybe the love part is that to feel everything, pain and emotional pain, and I'm not good with physical pain. I have to interject.
I prefer not to have that.
Not good. I want morphine if I'm in pain, but not good with physical pain. But all the other feelings as a human being, I want to feel as difficult and awkward. BJ Miller will often say, oh, I love the awkward moment. Because a lot of people meet him and they don't see that he's missing his legs and his arm or whatever, because he presents like this, and they're like, this awkwardness where he's like, oh yeah, it was an accident when I was, in college, and but to feel everything and to allow people to feel what they feel and just be there for them and because it will pass. I mean, some of our feelings that are uncomfortable feel like they will never end, and they won't if we keep going back to that moment of when we are mad at that person or hurt by that person, and you keep bringing the past back. I mean, we have to probably process that, but it's like at a certain point we must let the destructive things go and be present. And often, because I live on the edge financially, and I'm in with the way I live, and every now and then, because friends will be like, oh, I only have enough saved till I'm 80. I'm like, I'm getting through the month, and I will sit and I always tell myself I can change at any time. If I want to go into the workforce and work 40 hours a week at some job I don't like, and I can do that if I'm going to be on the street or whatever, because I'm mentally capable and I'm pretty emotionally capable. So I will sit and meditate, and I'll be like, roof, food, not in debt, I'm good. You know, I don't, I'm definitely the moment, the day. Now I'm not, you know, I'm not irresponsible. I see that, no, if right now, in fact, right now I'm fat, you know, I could live till September, you know, if the world more money came in. So I'm like, till you're 80? What? Never mind. I'm on such a different place than most people around that. But being present, and I think we're going into the end of life, and people dying that we love, and grieving and honoring it, and allowing it, and in whatever way, everyone's different, the way they grieve, how long they grieve, and time means nothing. And I remember my mother's love of her life, my stepdad. He died very young. He was 48, and she was beyond devastated, and she was busy. She's going to be busy. She's going to be busy. She goes, grief can't catch a moving target. And then she said, grief waits. It waits. And she just caved to it. Thank God. So it's to be honored, and it's such a part of being human. It's such a mystery. We can't know where everyone goes or what happens. I mean, I feel very strongly no one goes anywhere. And it's just another human, it's just another thing that unifies us. And we need each other. We do need each other. You know, I'm a very much I love my solitude, but I also am well aware, especially after this year, how much I need that hugs and my humans. I need them. And when I in the beginning, after a few months of not seeing my daughter and her family, I started taking dinner over there because they have an outdoors, and we sat outdoors, and then we stopped it in December because of the surge. But when I did that, one time I went to a restaurant and I get it to go, I order in advance, and then they had an outdoor bar. And I thought, well, I'm going to sit outside because they had all the plastic shields and everyone's in masks. And I thought, I'm going to sit outside and have a beer while I wait. And the sound of the people talking, I didn't know how much I missed. I didn't know what they were saying. I didn't care. It was like people talking to each other that I didn't know. And I felt so good. I just felt like, oh, I do love the human being as mad as they are when you're driving. So, yeah,
I think this year has really given us an opportunity to remember what we love about being human.
Yes.
And what we don't like, you know,
Yes.
to really discern that, to sit
Yes.
back and notice it for people who don't usually, who don't live on the edge financially because they're following their passion like we've done, and who are playing by all the rules and don't maybe stop to think about what the connection is to each other, you know, beyond the physical, beyond the mundane.
Yes, and I think this has forced a lot of us to go inside, and what was I thinking? It was well, just that we do need each other, and it's shown. That's what I was thinking. It's shown a light this year on a lot of dark places in our culture, and once that light's on, the darkness can go. It's painful. It's a process. That is what I saw all year long with the racism and the prison situation, with the prisoners being locked in with the sickness and the crazy politics and the just a lot of light. And then you have a choice, you know, do you want to focus on, or do you want to help heal this? And then you just, you know, I think healing ourselves is first, you know,
Right.
that really is first. So
As you're talking, I'm getting flashes of Sense8, right? Because, that kind of set the stage for us to move through this year, because it really does look at the dark side of life. It looks at and it addresses it globally, which I think we really
I
remember
love
with
the
this.
globally. Yes,
Yeah.
and global. Yes.
It's global. And then with all the darkness, there's also the brilliance and the connection and the mysticism that comes in of waking up to something more. You've mentioned talking to the trees, and you and I talk about that. Like, that's, of course we talk to the trees. I had one time, and I may have told you, but maybe not other people, where I was on a walk and I thought to myself, I wonder what it's like to just, if we could all talk to the trees and everything and just have a conversation with them. And I'm walking by a tree and he's like, "You're talking to me now. You do it all the time." I'm like, "Oh, right." Sorry.
If we pay attention, yeah, we just have to. That's what I have written. I have written 15. There's many more, but I've written 15 quotes from the trees, because I don't talk to them so much. Now and then I'll ask a question as they talk to me. And I use these in a weekly meditation, each quote. And because I've studied, oh my God, the Yoga Sutras for 30 years, Rilke, Camus, things I read and studied, the Bible, everything, how much I read and studied. And at one point about a year ago, the Big Daddy tree was like, "Put your books away. Put your books away. Listen to what you're hearing and study that." And so that's what I've been doing. And I put the books away. No more books. And the other day I went to the big tree and I heard keep purifying your thought, trust in the universe. And then I started to walk away and I turned around, I said, "Anything else?" And I heard, "All the knowledge you need is inside yourself." Yeah. Take it to the bank. All the knowledge you need. It's not like I have all the knowledge, but all the knowledge I need. No one else can know what I need. No one. And I learned that in severe lessons. And so we have that. Tree of Life is inside of you. I read that I was going through my books for the last time before I put them away. And there was this one book that Father Tolliver had given me. And it even said in that book, after I heard that from the tree, "You don't need any more books. The Tree of Life is inside of you." And I went, "Okay." So off the books went. So yeah, I believe that with every cell in my body, and that we all have different strengths, and that's the Sense8 thing, which I so appreciated about that, is we need each other, because I'm not good at that and need that. And if someone else needs my whatever, we need that to survive. Right. It's not the survival of the fittest, as we have found out. It's the survival of unity. That's how we survive.
Right.
We cannot survive alone. So I do appreciate the trees.
And whether you're talking to the trees or you're connecting to your loved ones who've crossed over, just opening your heart and maybe your imagination. In Sense8, they didn't know what was happening. They had to figure it out, but they were willing to figure it out.
I'm hearing something. I'm sorry. Are you?
Yeah.
No. All right.
Can you focus? So in Sense8, they didn't know what was going on. They were just allowing it to be, and they were opening themselves up to experience that. And I think that's a key lesson for us,
Oh yeah.
It's just that willingness to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just and allow it. And after years and years and years of getting information from odd places, like people who have died and all of that, I gave up arguing with them. Like, all right, I hear it. I'm going to do that because it's always right. I mean, the trees have never been wrong. Never. So, yeah, opening ourselves up and allowing, experimenting, experiment.
Right. Yeah.
Soon dead.
That letting it just happen, it just made me think my, Two Feathers, who you now know in spirit,
Yes.
but Two Feathers will decide what he wants me to wear sometimes. And he will, if I'm going to put something on, it's usually at an event or something, but if I go to wear something and he doesn't want me to, it will be gone. I can go and look everywhere for it, and then I'll give in. It's like being in Sense8. I think that's why I resonated, right? And then I'll come back after I've worn what he wants me to wear. I'll come back and it's sitting right in my closet, right where it's supposed to be.
I know this, yes.
And that's how, I think that's why I'm so passionate about just trying to normalize it for everyone. Like, just let life be the magic that it is, the fun that it is, because it's a wonderland. And we know that inside of us. We have the tree of life inside of us. We know this. It feels correct, Beautiful.
Yeah, it's magic.
Before we end, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about your show.
Yes.
And let's tell us a
Should I
little
do
bit
that
about
and
it.
read the poem? May I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And is this feedback I'm hearing? What is that? Is it so I should ignore
Brian,
it?
it's gotten pretty bad for us. Can you hear us? Yeah. And I think we might be yelling at each
But
other
no
to try to
problem.
get over
I
it.
mean, if it's fine.
It won't be on it, but it's trying to focus, right?
So shall I?
Yeah. If you want it, we'll just keep going. Okay, go.
Yeah. So I started getting into the end of life work, and I've always been interested my whole life in we're going to die. Who cannot be curious about this? It's a fact. I mean, really, this is one of the things you can't argue with. And I've been interested. Well, when my dear friend, my best friend, and she got very sick with cancer, and she did not want to die. She was 42 years old, and so she would call. She knew I was interested, and she was dying, and I would go and visit her and help out, and blah blah blah. But so I wrote. So after she died, and I got to be there and hold her hand in her last breath, and it was opened up the world for me, and I was euphoric until I was sobbing the next day. Right. I wrote this piece about it, and so that is the piece I have gone and read all over the place, and it's I read it once in Nairobi in a bookstore in Kenya, and I thought, oh, it's too American, and I was nervous. It was an international group, and there was an African man dressed up in a suit, like sitting 2 feet in front of me, and he's just watching me, and I'm giving the piece, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm boring him, this is a nightmare. And then he goes for intermission, and he comes back, sits there. I'm like, oh, I'm torturing him. And he came up to me afterwards, and he said, you told my story, how did you know?
Oh, wow.
And so that has been something for me, because what I have found is it's the piece. I think if you're honest, it's universal.
Mm-hmm.
I do or say anything that's honest, it's universal.
Right.
On some level. So anyway, so I guess shall I go into the poem?
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Okay. I can't wait to hear it.
So my friend was very conscious of her last year, and yelled at me once, going, why didn't you take me to Father Tolliver's church? And I was like, Elizabeth, I told you about him once. I don't talk people into things. And she studied metaphysics her entire dying process. And 4 days before she died, she woke her sister up in the middle of the night, said, get my journal. I want to write this down. And she wrote this poem and then died 4 days later. So I want to share this poem with you that she wrote.
Beautiful.
It's called The River. The river. There is a river. It runs with so much love in all of us. This river, it is so simple. That's what I've come to, the simplicity. And there are only two ways to go. One is love, one is fear. The river is not just a little stream. It is the great river of the universe. I just want you all to know that there's enough for everybody. Just let the debris flow down the river. Let it go.
Oh.
And
How
that,
beautiful.
isn't that just, it embodies so much for me.
Yeah.
And one of the things when she said it is so simple, one of the things I heard from the trees when we went into COVID was, they're not getting it. Simplify. It was like this whole, a major lesson in all of this is simplify.
Simplify.
And thank you for letting me share that, because
oh my gosh, thank you for sharing it. It's
beautiful. It's
yeah.
just right. And so now you got the end of the piece. You come and hear the whole thing.
Yes, now we have to go see the rest to get to the end.
You have to see the rest.
Beautiful. Well, Sandy, it has been a delight to have you here today, and I just adore talking consciousness with you.
Likewise. Thank you for the opportunity to just blab.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. So, and I'm sure we'll have you on again someday. We do have one of your other cast members coming up in a few weeks. We're going to have Paul Ebola.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
nice.
Jella, for all the people who don't know everybody by actor name, right?
Right.
Yeah, and he's in Nairobi, so that's going to be a joy. And he's taken the Consciously Awesome program. So we have a sensei who is also consciously awesome. So we're going to do that in a couple of weeks.
Is he from Nairobi? Is he a Kenyan?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So fabulous. I mean, I lived there for 2 years.
I know. I can't believe you guys didn't talk about that.
Well, I didn't see him, but I did speak with, a beautiful woman. What is her name? Anyway, we were in the hallway of the hotel, and it was during the the finale. And I said, habari yako. And she's like, and she was from Nairobi. So we had a nice exchange.
Oh, that's fun.
Good.
Oh, how wonderful.
Really
awesome.
Oh, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, for being here. And for all of you, again, tune in next week on Wednesday at 1 for more consciousness. And I also want to encourage you to watch on Thursdays our other show, which is Higher Health Now. I think that's a great show. There are so many great shows here on Solivity Live TV or Solivity TV. And I just hope you'll explore the rest of them, because if you're interested in Sense8, you're interested in this, you're interested in so many of them. So join in and check other things out. A great shout out and thank you to Brian. He's an amazing producer and creator of Solivity. So that's awesome. And everyone have an amazing week.